It's 8 p.m. on a seemingly normal Tuesday night here in College Park, Maryland. But off in New Hampshire, it is anything but. Donald Trump and Ted Cruz have taken a break from the campaign trail for the night to smile, wave, and kiss babies across the Granite State as voters take to the polls, casting their support for one candidate from their party. So many of us have tuned into the news to watch the night unfold, yet so many of us wonder how this primary affects the rest of the election. What even is a primary, and what's a caucus? This election year is a crucial one for so many reasons, but especially for college age students, as this is the first election we are able to vote in. Our voices matter. It is so important for us to understand how the election process actually works and how the vote of the individual does matter. With the decisions being made during the next presidency affecting adolescents so directly, it is important to understand how the presidential election process unfolds and works. As an individual, I have always held a strong interest in government and politics. Since the 2016 race for the White House began, I have stayed active in watching the election unfold in order to properly participate when the time comes. This election year is an important one for young adults because the decisions made during the next presidency will directly affect us in our adult lives. With the decisions being made during the next presidency affecting adolescents so directly, it is important to understand how the presidential election process unfolds and works. The President of the United States cannot be just anyone. The candidate must be a natural born U.S. citizen, at least 35 years of age, and a resident of the United States for at least 14 years. At least 1 to 2 years before the general election occurs, the candidates announce and establish their campaign. Within 15 days of the declaration, either a candidate or someone on their behalf is required to register with the Federal Election Commission, also known as the FEC. The candidate must receive an excess of $5,000 in contributions and expenditures in order to file with the FEC to establish a legitimate campaign. The candidates begin to campaign, traveling around the country, participating in debates and rallies, stating what their views are, what will occur during their presidency, and why they are qualified to become the President of the United States. In January, the candidates begin to campaign more rigorously, solidifying support and votes across the nation. On February 1st, all remaining candidates from both parties will meet on the battlefield in Iowa to duke it out for the name of Iowa caucus winner. Each party holds one winner. On February 1st, 2016, Hillary Clinton won the caucus for the Democrats, and Ted Cruz won the Republicans. Each state holds either a primary or a caucus, depending on state preference. In a primary, voters cast their ballot at various polling places across the state. At the end of the evening, the votes are tallied, and the winner of the primary is determined. In the case of a caucus, a large group of people gather to discuss the issues and candidates at a central location and then later cast their vote. The point of this is so that the candidates can continue to push their ideas and notions throughout the day, drumming up as much support as possible. During these close primary elections, voters are only permitted to vote within their designated political party. In July of 2016, after primaries and caucuses have closed, Philadelphia will hold the 47th Democratic National Convention, and Cleveland will hold the 41st Republican National Convention. The purpose of the convention is to determine the presidential ballot for the general election. In other words, the party decides who will run as their official presidential and vice presidential candidates. Each party chooses delegates for the convention from each state. These delegates then cast their votes for their state's winning candidates. Following the national convention, the final months of the campaigns call for more heavy speeches, fundraisers, and debates. During this time, the candidates prioritize staying in the public eye and maintaining their status as household names. The internet has helped them to do so by reshaping the campaign trail, creating a new and interactive dimension for them to get their messages across. In November, the general election and electoral college occur to finally determine who will be the next president. The election occurs on the first Tuesday in November. The general public participate in the election across the nation. An average of 100 million votes are cast on election day. Usually, by 11 p.m. that night, it is clear who has won each state and who has won the election. At this time, the losing candidate will call the president-elect to concede, and both candidates will give final speeches. However, the general election is only half the process. Once a state has finished voting, the Electoral College comes into play. It is important to keep in mind that the Electoral College is a process, not a place. The Electoral College was established as a compromise amongst the Founding Fathers for the election of the President by vote in Congress and by the popular vote. The process consists of the selection, meeting, and counting of the electors. The only federal limitations on the elector is that they cannot be a senator or representative, or a person holding office or trust or profit under U.S. law. Generally, state certification is seen as enough qualification. The electors are generally elected by their party and will typically be a state elected official, party leader, or person with political or personal ties to a candidate. In 48 states, the winning candidate in a state's popular vote will win the electoral vote as well. Nebraska and Maine participate in proportional distribution, with the winner getting 2 electoral votes and then the winner of each congressional district receiving 1. There are no federal laws requiring electors to vote according to the popular vote. However, some states do have their own laws. The electors pledge to the state law or political party that they will cast their vote for a specific candidate. Those recognized as faithless electors may be fined or disqualified and replaced from the vote in certain states. The Supreme Court has not ruled on this issue. However, over 99% of electors vote as pledged. The college consists of 538 votes. A majority of 270 is required in order to win the election. Each state has 1 elector per representative and 2 per senator. Washington, D.C. has 3. After the election has concluded, the governor of each state prepares the Certificate of Ascertainment, listing the candidates and electors. The winning candidate and representative elector then hold the meeting of electors in December. The state certificates are sent to the National Archives for the official records of the election. The committees will meet on the first Monday after the second Wednesday in December in state. The state certificate of the vote is then sent to the National Archive as well for the official records. On January 6th, the state's votes are tallied by the members of the House and the Senate. The Vice President, standing as the President of the Senate, presides over the count. The VP announces the results and declares the newly elected President and Vice President. The inauguration of the new President occurs on January 20th when they are officially sworn into office. The presidential election is more than just a one-day process, and it is important for adolescents to understand what leads up to the general election in November. The presidential election is a complicated yet effective process. As November wanes closer, it is important to be educated on the process and why the participation of those who are able to vote is so crucial for the outcome of the election.